Women's fashion retailer Coast has gone into administration, putting 300 jobs at risk in a sign of continuing pain on the high street. We'll have more on that story coming up. And motoring groups have condemned the government's decision to cut subsidies for buying greener cars. From next month, grants for new plug-in hybrids will be scrapped, while discounts on all electric cars will be cut from £4,500 to £3,500. The owner of Patisserie Valerie has said its finance director, Chris Marsh, was arrested last night and then released on bail. The cafe chain is, of course, fighting for survival after revealing on Wednesday it had uncovered significant and potentially fraudulent accounting irregularities. Mr. Marsh had been suspended when these problems were discovered. On Thursday, the firm said it needed an immediate injection of capital to continue trading in its current form. Also in the retail world, women's fashion retailer Coast has gone into administration, putting 300 jobs at risk in a sign of continuing pain on the high street. The collapse means the immediate closure of its 24 stores at locations including Oxford Street in London. Well, let's talk through all these stories with Emily Hardy. She's business and markets reporter at This Is Money. Emily, thanks for joining us. First of all, let's start with Patisserie Valerie, because this is a huge chain, 206. And incredibly enough, it's a publicly traded company as well. How could this have happened?
Yeah, you never quite expect it from any company, let alone a listed company. So it is quite astonishing, really, how a £450 million, supposedly a company that was in a net cash position, has crumbled quite so quickly. It's a surprise to everybody, and it looks possible that Patisserie Valerie, the Patisserie Holdings, could even fall into administration as soon as today as a result.
It grew really quick, didn't it, from about 8 stores back in 2006 to over 200 now. Do you think part of the problem with some of these companies is just the expansion is too quick?
Absolutely. I think there's been massive overexpansion across the high street in retail and casual dining, and it's often at the expense of the quality of these chains. You know, one chain might get a lot of popularity, and then someone looks at the numbers and thinks, oh, well, if we have 200 of these, then that's the number we'll get. But it doesn't always work like that. The more chains there are, the less appeal they might hold, and they sort of shoot themselves in the foot.
Talk about Coast. It, of course, is a women's retailer, and I mean, we've on and on we go, don't we, about the high street, Emily, and how it has issues and problems. And Coast is another example of how one company just hasn't quite done enough, has it, to keep itself afloat? It
hasn't. It didn't quite move with the times. It's also one of those women's wear brands that's quite expensive. It's for sort of evening occasion wear, and I think certainly since the Brexit vote, there's been a little bit of consumer confidence of volatility, and it's lower than it was, which means that that some people are sort of holding back on those more expensive purchases. We can see that with furniture and big ticket items as well. So it may have fallen victim a little to that, but it was also stung quite badly by the collapse of House of Fraser.
So it had quite a few concessions there, did it, that it had issues with?
Absolutely. I think the previous owners of House of Fraser, when it went into administration, Coast was owed a significant amount of money. So from that point onwards, its owners were desperately trying to find a buyer, and in this current market, that just wasn't possible.
OK, Emily Hardy from This Is Money, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.